we're just going to go through the alphabet and you're paying attention to, again, how we're pronouncing those letters. So I will write it down quickly. Okay, so we have the alphabet. I'm just going to read it together once, and then I will ask you some questions in relation to how you pronounce the letter. So, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Ha, Kha, Dal, Dal, Ra, Za, Sin, Shin, Sad, Dad, Ta, Dha, Ain, Ghain, Fa, Qaf, Kaf, Lam, Mim, Noon, Waw, Ha, Hamza, Ya. Okay, somebody tell me how many letters are pronounced by sticking the tongue out. So how many letters where you would stick the tongue out? Okay, so for the sake of the recording, if you can write the number instead, inshallah. So as in terms of the letters that you would stick out the tongue, you would have the tha, you would have the dhal, and you would have the dha. Okay, so 3 letters where you would stick your tongue out. Okay, so those are the ones that you need to remember. The next one, how many letters are pronounced by the tip of the tongue touching the gums of the upper front teeth? It's a bit of a hard one because we haven't gone through it in its full capacity. So Gunwal saying 2. So if I was to ask you, so again, I'm just going to repeat it. So the tip of my tongue is touching the gums of my upper front teeth. So let's go through it. Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim. Have I gone through one so far? Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim. Okay, so the first one is the letter Ta. If you notice when I'm saying Ta, the tip of my tongue is touching the gums of my upper front teeth. Okay, so tip of the tongue touching the gums of my upper front teeth. Again, the second line. So Ha, Kha, Dal, Dhal, Ra, Za. Have I gone through one in the second line? Is Ha one? No. Kha? No. Dal. Okay, so the dal, when I say da, so everybody just say da amongst yourselves. So da. So when we're saying da, the tip of my tongue and the tip of your tongues should be touching the gums of the upper front teeth. Okay, so that's your second one. Da. Okay, that we know we stick our tongue out, so it can't be that. Ra is a little bit more complicated. It's not the ra. Za, we already know it's the tip of the tongue touching the tips of the lower teeth. Sin, no. Sheen, no. Sad, no. Dad, no. Ta.
Ta.
Yeah, ta is the next one. Okay, so just mute yourselves for the sake of the recording. Ta is the letter that is pronounced.
You know what you're doing.
Okay, so ta is the letter that is pronounced where the tip of the tongue is touching the gums of the upper front teeth, and that is your third one. Okay, so there's 3 letters that are pronounced where the tip of the tongue is touching the gums of the upper front teeth. So ta, da, ta. Again, ta, da, ta. Okay, and a good way to remember it is 3 for the tip of the tongue, touching the gums of the upper front teeth, and 3 by sticking your tongue out. And if you notice, that one has just got an extra dot in comparison to the da. The dal has an extra dot in comparison to the dal. The dal, sorry. So the dal has an extra dot in comparison to the dal, and the va has an extra dot in comparison to the ta. So this would fall into one category, the one with the circles. And the ones with the underlines, so the tha, the zal, and the va would fall into one category, which is where you would stick your tongue out. Okay? And then we had the letters that where you, so if I was to ask you, how do you pronounce the letter seen? Okay, so how do I press the letter, or how do I pronounce the letter seen? The tip of my tongue touching the, something about the lower, the teeth, the lower teeth. Is it the gums or is it the tips? Okay, so the bottom tip. Okay, so the seen is the tip of the tongue touching the tips of my lower teeth. So I would say it like sa, sa. And you should just be able to see the roof of my tongue because I am touching the tips of the lower teeth. Now there's 3 letters that are pronounced in exactly the same way. We already went through it a little bit in the previous sessions, and that was the sod. Okay, so we said with the sod, it's the same as the seen, but it's a heavier version. So it's the tip of the tongue touching the tips of the lower teeth. Can anyone remember what the other 3rd letter was? The 3rd letter that was similar to the seen and the sod. The za. Well done, Kaifa. So that is the za. So we said that there's 3 categories for the da. Well, we said that there were 3 in the category of da, dal, and ta, where the tip of the tongue is touching the gums of the upper front teeth. And then the next category is the one where you're sticking your tongue out, and that is tha, dal, and va. Okay, and then the 3rd category is the za, seen, and sod, where the tip of the tongue is touching the tips of your lower teeth. Now, it'd be a good idea for you to take a picture of this if you are able to do so, because it will give you the opportunity to look back at it, and you'll be able to see that there's 3 categories, 3 letters in each category. Okay, so I'll just put that up for 2 seconds. And then the next question is, how many letters are pronounced from the throat? How many letters are pronounced from the throat altogether? 6, well done, Sonia. Okay, so we said that the throat, we divide it into how many categories? How many sections does the throat have? Yeah, well done. So the 3, we have the top, we have the middle, and we have the bottom. Okay, so from the top of the throat, what letters are pronounced from, or how many initially? How many letters are pronounced from the top of the throat? 2, yeah. And how many are pronounced from the middle of the throat? 2 again. And then from the bottom is 2. So altogether there's 6 letters. And so the top of the throat, we have the letter kha and the letter ghain. From the middle of the throat, we have the letter ha and the letter ain. And from the bottom, we have the letter ha and the letter hamza. Okay, so again, it's good for you to remember it in this way. And if you notice that the kha and the ghain is similar to the ha and the ain, but they just have dots on it. Okay, so it should be easy for you to remember. And then with the bottom, you can kind of remember it like the ain is just a cut version of the ain, or however you want to. That one is nice and easy. The ha and the ain is similar to the kha and the ghain. It's just a dot difference. Okay, so let's practice how we would pronounce it. So kha, nice and scratchy from the top of your throat. Kha, kha. And then the ghain is gha, gha. And then from the middle of the throat is ha, lots of air. Ha. Okay, and again, you should be using your hand to be able to see if you are releasing air onto your hand in a large amount. So it's ha, ha, and there should be a slight crispness to your to the breathing. So it's ha, ha, and then you have the letter ghain, which is from the middle of the throat again. And remember how we said it's a little bit like being in pain. So ah, ah, and then we have from the bottom of our throat, which is the her, the deep one, okay, and it's equivalent of H-E-R, her, her. And then we have the hamza, which in its sound is a or u, e. Okay, so we have her and then a. So let's just practice it with the fatha, kasra and dhamma. Ha, hu, khi, gha, ru, ri, ha, hu, hi, a, u, e. And then her, hu, he. And then with the hamza, a, u, e. Okay, so those are your throat letters. So that's that one, that one. Where are the other ones? We've got that one, the hamza, and the her. Okay, and then we said with regards to the dod, that the dod is the turn the book that way. Okay, so the waw, sorry, what was I going to say? The dod. Okay, so the side of the tongue should be touching which teeth? The dod. Mola, well done. Okay, so the side of my tongue, and remember I can either use both sides or I can use just one side. So I can either say da, da, or I can say da, da, and just use one side. Okay, both would be correct. Okay, and you're trying to get that puffiness in your cheeks. And then we had the letter fa. What did I say about the letter fa? Why was it special? I said it was the something of the Arabic language. It was the lightest letter. Okay, so it's the lightest letter. So meaning it needs to be nice and soft. And we said that with the fa, we don't say fa by touching the dry part of our lip. We say fa as in touching the inner wet part of our lip. Okay, so it's fa, fa. Okay, and then the qaf is a very heavy letter. And so we would pronounce it from the back of our tongue, touching the, or going towards, sorry, not touching because it's impossible to touch, to raise it up towards the soft part of our upper palate. So we would say it as qa, qa, in comparison to ka, ka. So again, qa, ka, qa, ka. And then with the lam, okay, we said that we don't use the tip of our tongue, we use the, what do we use for the lam? We don't use the tip of our tongue, we use the fronted edge. Okay, so we use the fronted edge of our tongue touching the gums of the upper front teeth. Now, Haif is asking whether the kaf is smiley. Yes, remember how I said that if a letter is not heavy, then see it as a smiley letter. Okay, so ba, smile, ta, smile, tha, smile. Anything that isn't heavy, okay, so ja, yeah, it's a kind of a smile. So everything with a smile, apart from those that are the heavy letters. And how many heavy letters did we say there were yesterday? 7, well done. Okay, so can anyone tell me what those 7 letters are? Ideally, if I had another colored pen, it would be lovely. Okay, so the heavy letters are the kha. I don't know what to put. I'll put a square around it. Okay, so we've got kha. The next one is sad. The next one is dad. The next one is ta. And then za. And then ghain. and then qaf. Okay, so these 7 heavy letters we pronounce with a full mouth. Okay, so it's like a rounded mouth. So let's say these 7 heavy letters, just these 7 heavy letters. So kha, and I'm going to repeat them twice. Kha, kha, sad, sad, dad, dad, ta, ta, va, va, ghain, ghain, qaf, qaf. Okay, so 7 heavy letters. And remember how I said that it's good for you to memorize it in this order. So kha, sad, dad, ta, dha, ghain, qaf. Again, kha, sad, dad, ta, dha, ghain, qaf. Okay, 7 heavy letters. And so for now, what I'm going to do is that I wanted us to go through a surah and try and apply the rules that we've covered so far. So just a quick reminder, we're not going to go into in detail. We said that there's the rule of noon mushadda, meme mushadda, that whenever we see a noon with a shadda on it or a meme with a shadda on it, we pronounce it with noon or a shadda, noon with a shadda or meme with a shadda is pronounced with gunna. Somebody tell me, what does qalqala mean? It means an echo or a bounce. How many letters of qalqala are there? 5. What are they? So it's qaf, ta, ba, jim, and dal. And we said that whenever they have a sukoon on it, we would pronounce it with a bounce. Okay, then we went through the rule of the name of Allah. What's the rule? Okay, you should be saying it out loud to yourself, that whenever you see a fatha or a dhamma before the name of Allah, you would pronounce it heavy. I'm going to write this down because when we're going to be looking through the surah, you're going to be paying attention to it. Okay, and then whenever you see a kasra, it makes it light. Okay, and then we went through the letter ra. We said that when the ra has a fatha on it, we make it heavy. When the ra has a dhamma on it, we make it heavy. When the ra has a fatatain, we make it heavy. When the ra has a dhammatain, we make it heavy. Okay, so it's a little bit all over the place there, but what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go through, I'm going to bring up a surah, and I'd like us to just focus on how we are finding those rules. Okay. Okay, so it's a surah that we haven't gone through before. I'm not worrying about how you're pronouncing it. I would just like you to have a look, see for number 1, I'm going to ask you a question as to whether you can see any noon mushaddas or any meme mushaddas in this surah. Okay, so the first question is with regards to the noon mushadda. So can anyone find any noons with a shadda on it? That's what you're looking for me right now. Take your time, have a look through it properly. And if you find one, then don't write it in the chat, please. Can you just write it down on a piece of paper, write it down somewhere? We're going to share the answers out together afterwards. I want to give everyone a bit of a chance for today. Okay, so you're writing down if you can see any noons with a shadda on it, that little W. Okay, so the next question is, can you see any memes with a shadda on it? And you're just writing down on your paper or somewhere whether you can see one or whether you can't see one and how many you can see. Okay, so you're just putting a number down for now. Any meme mushaddas. Okay. So the next one is whether you can see any qalqalas. So you're looking for a qaf, or a ta, or a ba, or a jim, or a dal with a sukoon on it. And I'll just bring that up so you can remember those letters. So you're looking for a qaf, ta, ba, jim, or dal with a sukoon on it. And in this text, that sukoon looks like this. Okay, so can you see any qafs with that little sign on it? Can you see any tas with that sign on it? Any bas, any jims, any dals? And I want you to just write down that number on a piece of paper or somewhere. So when we're going through the results or going through the answers, you're able to see which ones you missed or whether you got it right. I'll give you a couple more minutes for this one. Okay, the next one is whether you can see any names of Allah. If you can see the word Allah in this surah, okay, I want you to let me know whether it is heavy or light if you can see any. Is it heavy or is it light? So you're literally looking for the word Allah in this surah, whether it's firstly there, and if it is, then whether it is heavy or whether it's light. So am I saying Allah or am I saying Allah? Okay, and then I'm asking you for the letter Ra, if there's any heavy Ra's. You're not looking for any light ones. I'm just asking you if you can see any Ra's with a Fatah on it, a Dhamma on it, or a Fatatain, or a Dhammatain. And if you can count them, because that's how many heavy Ra's there are in the surah. I'm not bothered about the light ones. All I'm focusing today is on the heavy ones. So remember that sometimes this Dhammatain, it doesn't look like this, it'll look like a little bit of a 69. So sometimes it can look like that. It's the same thing. Okay, are we done? So that's all that I would like you to do. Actually, one more question is about the heavy letters. Okay, so can you find any heavy letters in this surah? I'm just going to write down what those heavy letters are. And if you can, count them and give me a number, please. So it's kha that you're looking for, sad, dad, ta, va, ghain, and qaf. Remember, it doesn't matter what it's got on it. If you see any of these letters, then that means that's how many heavy letters there are in this surah. So you're literally counting them. Take your time. Okay, so I'm gonna have to rush you a little bit. But those of you who have found what you had, then that's fine. Okay, so let's do the heavy letters first. Let's see how many there are. So in the I number one, wattini was zaytun, there are no heavy letters. Watturi sinin, one. وهذا البلد الأمين, none. لقد, so we've got the qaf, and then خلقنا, we've got the kha, we've got the qaf. خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم, so the qaf again, so that's 5 so far. ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين, none. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات, so the sad is heavy, صالحات, فلهم أجر غير, so the ghain is heavy, ممنون, فما يكذبك بعد بالدين, أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. So there are 7 heavy letters in here. Those of you that got that right, well done. Okay, so those of that you didn't, then write down 7 and then have a look at this surah again in your own time. Because remember, we're just only having a small amount of time in this class. That doesn't mean that you can't do this task by yourself. So that's 7 heavy letters. The next one we will go through is the Noon Mushadda and the Meen Mushadda. So was there any Noon Mushaddas in this surah? Somebody tell me. Okay, so there was no Noon Mushaddas. And then the next question was going to be, were there any Meen Mushaddas? And there was 1. Okay, so in terms of Noon Mushadda, there's none. Meen Mushadda in ayah number 5, where it says ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ, that's 1. Okay, so 1 Meen Mushadda, which means I've got to pronounce it with gunna. I'm saying ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ, ثُمَّ. Next one is Qalqala. Okay, so this surah does have quite a few Qalqalas. Okay, so let's see how many there were. So Wattini was Zaytun, none. Waturi Sinin, none. Wahadhal Baladil Amin, none. Laqad, that's the first one. So you've got a dal with a sukoon on it. Laqad. Khalaqanal, so the qaf again is a Qalqala letter. And it's got a sukoon on it, so it is a qalqala. لَقَدْ خَلَقَنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Taqweem. So again, you've got a qaf here that's got a sukoon on it. That's number 3. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ. So again, that's number 4. رَدَدْنَا. The dal has got a sukoon on it. رَدَدْنَا. أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ فَلَهُمْ أَجْرٌ. So that Jeem is a qalqala letter, because remember it's qaf, ta, ba, Jeem, dal. The Jeem's got a sukoon on it, so that's number 5. أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونَ فَمَا يُكَذِّبُكَ بَعْدُ بِالدِّينِ أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ. That's 5 qalqalas in this surah. Okay, so that's 5. If you found them all, that's great. If you didn't find them, then just pay attention to the one that you missed. And again, do this task later on in the day. Okay, and then the next rule was the name of Allah. So there's only one name of Allah in this surah. That's the last ayah, Alaysa Allahu. And that's a heavy one because the scene has a fatah on it. So because that scene has a fatah on it, we make it heavy, and it's Alaysa Allahu, Alaysa Allahu. Okay, and then the next rule was with regards to the ra. Okay, so let's have a quick look. Wattini was zaytun, none. Waturi sinin, none. وهذا البلد الأمين, none. لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم, none. ثم رددناه, 1. The ra's got a fatah on it. رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر. The ra's got a dammatain on it. أجر غير. The ra again has got a damma on it. ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. So there's 3 actually. There's 3 in this one. So remember, with the ra, it's very easy for you to miss them. Okay, because you really have to pay attention. So that is that's what we've covered up until now, these rules. And it's so important that when we're reading our Quran, we're paying attention to these rules. So technically we've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rules. Okay, so heavy letters, noon and mim mushadda, qalqala, the name of Allah, and the ra being heavy. Okay, so these 5 rules, when we're reading our Quran, pay attention to them, inshallah. And we'll leave it as that. And inshallah.